It's time to breathe again on the Breath of Fresh Air webcast on YouTube. I am your host, Charles Taylor, for today, and I am riding solo because my friend Patrick Brackett has family in town, so he couldn't join me this week. But he should be back with me next week, or maybe this week he'll do a shorty. I'll have to talk to him and see how that goes. But there is a lot to discuss, of course, and it's a lot on not just the sports front, but of course, what's going on in life right now. So I'm going to get to the sports part in a minute, but let's talk about some of the stuff that is going on in life. As we all know, this has been a very, very difficult and heavy year in terms of tragedy and in terms of the civil unrest. We've had Kobe Bryant pass. We've had Chadwick Boseman passed, Black Panther himself. He died in a lot of our estimation suddenly because a lot of us didn't even know he had cancer. I know I didn't, but he left us on Friday, so rest in peace to him as well. And we just lost John Thompson, the longtime coach for Georgetown, and he passed. So it's been really, really heavy in terms of the losses of life we've had. And also, there has been a lot going on. Of course, we know about COVID and what COVID has done to affect a lot of lives throughout the world. And we have the civil unrest that is going on in our country. So it's been really, really tough, really, really heavy. Um, Bottom line, with everything that's going on with the civil unrest and some of the racial inequalities that have been happening, some of the tragic killings that have happened this year, is I mean, there's been a lot of protests, as everybody knows. We know what the NBA players did and the other leagues as well last week. More on that in a minute. But there's been just a lot of unrest, and everybody seems like they're trying to find a solution to how they're going to go about getting to that racial equality that we have. We just have to be willing to have those difficult, tough, grimy conversations everybody talks about having, but we have to have them, and then there has to be some action involved. And as far as me and us as Black people, I know there have been some comments going back and forth. I know LeBron James has made some comments about uh, the police and us being scared, really being terrified as Black people to do anything, I guess, thinking we might get into it with law enforcement. And then there was another person that I had seen who said, "Hey, uh, you don't speak for me as a Black man. You don't speak for me." Now, both things can be true, and I think that's the thing we have to realize about some of these conversations. Uh, yes, there does seem to be a race problem in America. I don't think it is necessarily just down to Black people, but it seems like that is what is being outlined right now. Also, uh, the thing about what the other dude said about the families doing well and the father stepping up doing what they're supposed to be doing as fathers to raise their sons and daughters and all that, that can be true as well. So look, there are a good amount of Black people and people in general who are doing good in the nation, and they don't get in trouble, and they're doing what the law says. But it does seem like there have been a lot of unarmed Black men who have been tragically getting killed. Now, some of them might have been hardened criminals. We don't know what was going on with them, but them being unarmed and getting shot, that does seem a little bit excessive. So basically, what I am saying is we we just have to come together. Something has to be done to where we can come together and get to the point where we want to go. If we're all about having the racial equality, if we're all about having the unity with each other, then we have to come together. We have to show love to each other, and we have to do something about all the unrest that has happened. It seems like we are going backwards when it comes to that step. It seemed like we were making some progress toward there, but now we're taking some steps back. I do know this. If we are going to get to that point, which I don't really, that personally, I don't really have that faith. I just seem like to me, it seems like it's going to be one of those things where we may get close, but I mean, people have opinions and people have their backgrounds, and there are going to be racists in this country and in this world. But hopefully the greater good can overcome all the negativity in the world and in our country, and we can come together. So even though I don't think we will see that day where we will have complete racial equality, I am optimistic that day may happen. So we'll just have to see if we can all just come together, get past all the hate, get past all the unrest, and make sure we can get to that point someday. If not for our lifetime, hopefully for our kids and our grandkids' lifetime. Secondly, there is okay. So Patrick, Patrick got on the shorty last week, and we had a discussion when the NBA players walked out, and he had mentioned if we had walked out, and I guess we being the common folk, he had mentioned we would probably get fired. All right, I see your comment, Patrick. I got you. Yeah, I agree with you. But we had a conversation about the NBA players walking out, and he had mentioned we, as common folk, I guess, would have gotten fired if we walked out. And I mentioned, well, they kind of have a platform to speak up on it in terms of trying to make some change, because they're being seen by everybody each and every day by millions and millions of people. So that's what I had mentioned as far as the platform. Patrick got on the shorty, and well, he basically called me out more or less. Basically disagreed with me and said I created a platform for people to talk and have opinions. Well, Patrick, to address what you said, yes, that is true. I have created a platform for us to come on and talk, express our opinions, and hopefully affect change. My point was, we're not quite there yet. Yeah, I see it. We're not quite there yet in terms of having that huge outreach. We're trying to get there, but we're not there in terms of being able to reach millions and millions of people. And also, with them being able to see millions and millions of people, it's just a wider scale for them to be able to affect the change that they're, I guess, looking for. So that's where I was going with that comment. Notice, though, Patrick, I said we're not there yet. We'll get there. We're not quite there as a whole. We're building, you guys know, everybody knows we are building up as much as we can, and we will get to that point at some point, hopefully sooner than later. But right now, we're not quite there. And I guess the rules are a little bit different, because a lot of us know the NBA players and anybody who is playing sports, they're not quite common folk in terms of the money and the celebrity status. They're who they are, and that, I mean, they work their way to get there to have that platform. So that's where we're trying to get. Hopefully we can get there soon. And that's what I meant when I was talking to Patrick, and well, talking to you, Patrick, about how the players walked out. And an E-Thug address. So could you believe somebody came onto the web page, the Facebook page, and I guess he had left a post about the NBA or the NFL players being all convicts and being babies, and he was getting on them about taking the knee. Now, I had asked him to engage in conversation, because you know us, we're going to engage in conversation if we see the comments. So I asked him, I said, well, what do the NFL players have to do with this? Because they aren't playing right now. So he's putting up a graphic from 2-3 years ago, or whenever he got the graphic. I don't know. Well, he gets on there and he basically called the players, all the players convicts, and then he called me a butt munch. Are you serious? He called me a butt munch. Well, I got back on there and I called him out for basically being the e-thug. And of course, he had nothing else to say. If you're going to comment, number one, at least be intelligent about your comments. Number two, show your face. Don't sit here and hide behind a computer. Look, I'm out here and Patrick's out here. We're on the camera. You see us. You know where this is coming from, right from the source. Don't get on your comments and try to act like you're all tough in front of the computer, but you can't even show your face. Those are the type of people we don't really have time for. But if you are going to get on our forum and you're going to come at us, best believe we are about what we say. We will respond to you. We will engage in the conversation with you. We have no problem. I guarantee Patrick will. Patrick loves that stuff. So if you want to come at us and think we're not going to get at you, you have another thing coming. So, of course, I haven't heard from dude since he called me a butt munch and I called him out for trying to be an internet thug. So I don't know if I'm going to hear from him again, but if he does, just know. E-thug. Sorry, Patrick. But just know we will be back at you if you want to comment. And that's why I always say, come on here, leave comments, leave feedback, leave interaction, because we will engage with you. And we like to keep it cordial. We like to keep it chill. But if you want to get heated, we can do that too. Absolutely no problem doing that. So let's get to some of the stuff that's going on the playing field. It's been a heavy year in sports. It's supposed to to give us a temporary release from all of the stuff, from all of the toughness and the heaviness that has been going on throughout the year. So let's get to some of that action, and we'll start with the NBA playoffs. As we talk right now, I am watching the Utah Jazz play the Denver Nuggets in Game 7 of their series. Right now, Denver is winning, and they have won the last 2 games of the series. So right now, it's a little weird with the playoffs because you've had, I think it's the Boston Celtics and Toronto Raptors. They've already played 2 games in the second round series, and Boston is up 2-0 in that series. I think Milwaukee and Miami will play their second round Game 2 tomorrow. And in the West, you have, I mentioned the Jazz Nuggets Game 7, and the Oklahoma City and Houston Rockets will be playing Game 7 of their series tomorrow. The Thunder Rockets winner will play the Lakers. Yes, they'll play the Los Angeles Lakers in the second round. And the Jazz Nuggets winner will play the Los Angeles Clippers in the second round. So the matchups will be interesting to see how they break down. I do think the Thunder Rockets winner, whoever that is, they'll probably get whooped by the Lakers. I don't see either one of those teams going any more than maybe 6. Most likely 5. I do think the Lakers are starting to peak at the right time. And I don't know if the Thunder Rockets can. I don't think they'll be able to hang with them. Listen, the Rockets don't play any defense at all, and they continuously try to run this small ball lineup out there. I think the Lakers will just destroy them inside. Anthony Davis should have a field day. LeBron James will probably be able to post them up and take them inside. I think the Rockets get smashed unless they go on a 3-point shooting barrage, which we all know they can do. But when you do that, there's some times where you can go cold. So I don't see either one of them really doing too much in the series. Sweep. Well, we got. And then with the Clippers series, the winner of the Jazz and Nuggets one, that one might be a little bit more interesting, but I still think the Clippers will probably pull that one out and win, and it will be an all LA battle in the Western Conference Finals. Over toward the Eastern Conference, look, I still think it's Milwaukee's to lose. I understand Miami won Game 1, and everybody wants to jump on the Heat bandwagon. I get it. People want to bury Milwaukee already, but again, this is a series, And the Milwaukee, I still think should win. I'm not saying Miami doesn't have a shot to win the series. They're playing well, and it looks like they're starting to peak at the right time. But I don't think Milwaukee is going to lose. I think they will find a way to pull that out. I still got them probably beating them in 6, maybe 7, but I think Milwaukee will move on. And then you got Boston and Toronto. Boston is up 2-0, so it doesn't look too good for Toronto. I still think Toronto will make some noise before the series goes out, but Boston is looking good. They're looking solid, and I mean those young players are playing well. Kemba Walker, I have to say, and Patrick and I had talked about this before. Kemba Walker is a very steadying influence on that team. It's nothing like the crap and the just, well, basically mess that was going on with the Celtics last year when Kyrie Irving was there. Kemba Walker has come on there, and he has become pretty much a leader on the team for a lot of the young guys. And it looks like they are starting to click together. Well, actually, they've been clicking. I mean, they swept Philly in the first round, but they're rolling. Boston looks pretty good. So we'll see how games 3 and 4 happen. I'm not counting Toronto out again, because Toronto, they have a good squad in and of themselves. They have a good coach in Nick Nurse. He'll try to make those adjustments throughout the series. So I think Toronto will be heard from, but Boston looks good. So moving on to the NHL playoffs real quick. We have, let's see, I haven't seen the scores today, but the New York Islanders, they're up 3-1 on the Philadelphia Flyers. I think Tampa Bay, they were up 3-1 on the Boston Bruins. And then in the West, Vegas was up on Vancouver, and Dallas is up on Colorado. So look, with both of these sports, and also Major League Baseball, which I'll get to in a minute, with both of these sports, you have I think anybody can win. It's unlike any year, of course, because of the long delay we had because of COVID. It's just one of those years where anybody can win. So maybe the teams that might have been the favorites, whether that was the Clippers or the Lakers in the NBA, maybe in hockey, the Blues were a favorite since they won the Stanley Cup last year. But it's one of those years where it is definitely anybody's ball game. Maybe a team gets hot and they can ride that hot streak all the way through. So if anybody, I guess what I'm saying is I wouldn't be surprised to see any of these teams that are left over win the ship. I wouldn't be surprised at all, because it's just one of those uneven, weird years when it comes to sport, and this one more so than normal because of the break we have had with COVID. It'll be fun. It'll be fun to watch the rest of these games. We'll see. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen from day to day, whether you have COVID outbreaks and teams have to delay there, or they decide to walk out. There's no telling what can happen. So we'll just take it day by day. And as the games are on, we'll be here to follow it. So just stay in touch with the Breath of Fresh Air webcast, of course. Lastly, let's get on Major League Baseball. They had the trade deadline go through yesterday, and not a lot of activity happened. And to be honest, I wasn't expecting a lot of activity to happen. I think this is one of these years. I know San Diego kind of went big, the Padres, by picking up Clevenger, the pitcher from Cleveland. But I wasn't really expecting a whole bunch of trade deadline for the year, just because I don't know. It was just one of those things where it's a 60-game season, and it's probably better if you just kind of keep the chemistry going with the team that you have. A lot of teams kind of stay packed. I know there were some reports out there talking about the Yankees and the Braves, among others. I guess they were expecting them to make some moves, but they didn't. I just think it's one of those years where, hey, you kind of have what you have, and the players you add at the trade deadline, there really isn't a lot of time for them to make a huge impact like there would be in other seasons. So I wasn't expecting a whole bunch of activity to go on for the trade deadline, and not a lot did. So we'll just see how the teams go with with the rest of the season. The season ends in a month, maybe less, as it is. So we'll be coming up on the baseball playoffs here shortly. Patrick and I, we had talked about the standings. You still have Tampa Bay winning the East, the American League East. The Chicago White Sox are winning the Central, and Oakland is up in the West. In the National League, you have the Braves up in the East. You have the Cubs winning the division in the Central, and of course the Dodgers are winning in the West. So we'll see how those standings continue to stay. Real quick, so I got a comment from Patrick talking about the president talking to the Big Ten today. You know, I don't know what that's going to do, to be honest. It looks like the Big Ten they're pretty well set on not playing this year, them in the Pac-12. I mean, and if the Big Ten doesn't play, well, whatever. Honestly, I don't know. I I think these teams, like I said before, these teams and these conferences, they just have to come with the grips of not being able to play, or their decision is to not play. That is because of the money thing. Yes, they can use COVID as a cover. Yes, they can say, oh, well, we're worried about having people get the virus or whatnot. But again, it is about money at the end of the day. And if the Mid-American Conference is going to cancel, and I bring them up because they play a lot of their non-conference games with the Big Ten. The Big Ten, they had said that they were just going to go to a conference-only schedule. So if they were going to do that, then they probably should have stayed with that. That's what the other conferences are doing, or the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 12. They're going to a conference-only schedule. The Big Ten had decided they were going to go to a conference-only schedule, and then they decided they're not going to play. So I don't know who is in that brain trust. I know there have been some calls to have the season go on. I know a few of the players have tried to unite and get the season going, but it looks like the Big Ten isn't going to play. So I'm not going to hold my breath on that. And the president going to talk to them, to me, that really doesn't do anything. So, so with that is all I am breathing on for today. I know it was a lot and it started off the show heavy. So hopefully we were able to get more and more upbeat with it. But that is all I'm breathing on. That is all I am breathing on, if I can talk, for tonight's webcast. So make sure you guys get on the Breath of Fresh Air YouTube channel, smash that subscribe button, and also hit the likes and keep the likes coming on the Breath of Fresh Air Facebook page. The webcast is viewable through both YouTube and Facebook now. So I hope everybody, okay, before I go, there is a comment from Bear, my boy Bear, showing up. What are my thoughts on Real Salt Lake selling the team? Well, I think so. This is a Major League Soccer question that I had just gotten from my boy Bear. And Real Salt Lake, I guess there were some comments that came through about the owner being a bigot. So look, if sell it, he probably had to sell the team. I mean, look, we just talked about how much is going on with the civil unrest, with basically damn near a race war, to be honest. It might get to that point. I hope it doesn't, but it's tough out there when it comes to race relations. If you have an owner who is acting that way in terms of being a bigot, yes, he has to go. we are trying, or that is the plan, that is the goal. We are trying to get to a point where we have equality and unity. You can't have a guy owning a team with that attitude. It's just not going to fly. I go back to the NBA and the comments made by Donald Sterling when he was the owner of the LA Clippers. And like, man, he had a detailed history of basically being a bigot. And finally, those some comments came out and he got removed. These are the people we don't need owning teams or owning anything, whether it's a corporation or a business, whatever. You don't need these type of dudes here. If they just don't need to be there. Point blank, period. If we're going to get where we're going to go, we can't have people in power like that. We just can't. We have to get people in there who is for everybody and don't have that type of attitude. So that's my thoughts on that. So if there isn't any more questions, I don't know if there is or not, but if there isn't, then yeah, I will sign off here. Again, make sure you go to the Breath of Fresh Air Facebook page, keep the likes coming, and hit the subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Again, this is on both forums, so everybody can check it out and join us here every Tuesday night at 8 Central and 9 Eastern. So let us know what you think. We love the feedback. We love the comments. And like I said earlier, you guys know we will come back with some comments for you to engage in that conversation. We don't mind at all. So until then, everybody take care and have a good week. And we will see you soon. Oh, and Patrick, let me know if you're going to do a shorty or not. Y'all take care.